Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 21st October 2020. The first article for discussion is Heckler's Veto. What is the meaning of this Heckler's Veto? Let us understand this word carefully. You might be recollecting Padmavat movie to understand this better. Certain fringe elements want to ban that movie. Previously, Water, I think. It is about expression of women's sexual choices. The movie is about. It is an artistic expression of the director. Satanic Verses is a writing by Mr. This Salman Rushdie. And M.F. Hussain paintings, when they are exhibited, they are also vandalized. So, who has given the right to these fringe groups to vandalize these artworks? Is this not hindering the freedom of expansion of these people? Does the government need to succumb to these pressures? To answer this question, you need to understand this Heckler's Veto. It refers to suppression of freedom of speech because of the possibility of violent reaction by certain hecklers. Hecklers means fringe groups. Today, you can understand it this way. It is a process by which socially powerful groups can shut down critical or inconvenient speech by threatening public disorder. That is, let's take Rajputs in the case of Padmavat, or Hindu fringe elements in the case of M.F. Hussain artistic expressions. So today, why is this in news? Mr. Muthaiya Muralidharan's biopic 800 is about to be produced in Tamil, and many of the people actively opposed to that. Finally, actor Sethupathi has to withdraw from the movie, and this clearly shows that these fringe groups causing fear of disturbance finally made artistic expression to go away. When this happens, we call it as Heckler's Veto. Today, India is suffering in most of the instances from this Heckler's Veto. Yesterday, we saw another article that is about an advertisement by Tanishq Jewelers. That is also an artistic expression of communal relationships and intercommunal harmony. But it was withdrawn because of the violence or threat of violence by these fringe groups or hecklers. So, India is going through Heckler's Veto with regard to freedom of speech is concerned. That is the take home point. Next is the triumph of hope. Who is a leader? A leader who has to be inclusive, bring together all the divided people, establish a collective vision for the nation, and bring the change what she or he visualizes for the nation. If that is the case, Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand, stands first in the list. The second leader whom I wanted to talk about is Mr. Shinzo Abe. Mr. Shinzo Abe has moved away from the Prime Minister position of Japan, citing health reasons. We can't see that kind of leadership in India. Let's come back to New Zealand Prime Minister. She is expected to win the elections and she deserves it rightly. The way she fought COVID-19, only 25 deaths have happened in New Zealand. And the second thing, when there was gun violence, she immediately banned the certain types of guns in New Zealand. The third most important thing is, she has stopped the retributive violence against the Muslims immediately after that gunfire. She wanted to protect the minorities. She is inclusive, she is liberal, and at the same time, she is able to bring in the divides in the society to close. So that's the reason why she deserves a second or else tenure as the Prime Minister to change the country for future. Today, across the world, we are seeing divisive politics and far-right groups coming to power. And liberal like Miss Ardern coming back to power is good for the world. That's what I can put it as. Next, offset dilution in defense, a flawed policy turn. What is this offset policy? So whenever a foreign manufacturer is selling the goods to India, we want certain part of the goods to be manufactured in India. We want them to transfer the technology over here or do the service of certain value of the product in India. So taking that commitment, that is what is called offset policy. Why we do that? We want an indigenous military industrial complex to develop in India. And second, in the long run, it also saves valuable forex. In recent CAG report, he pointed out that many of the offset commitments are not fulfilled by the foreign manufacturers. That is where government reacted and changed the offset policy altogether. The reason cited by the government here is many of the valuable technologies the companies are not willing to transfer, and it is hindering military preparedness of India. Now, let us take the another sector to understand the impact of offset policy, that is aerospace industry. Because of the strong offset policy which started in 2005 in the sector, exports of India in the next immediate year increased by 544%. Second, you also remember that the value of export is increased from 62.5 million to 6.7 billion. So India is one of the aviation hubs or world's top 10 aerospace exporters today. But India do not have a large domestic aerospace firm. In spite of that, how it has become one among the top 10 aerospace exporters because of the development of MSMEs surrounding this offset policy. So that is the advantage we need to keep in mind. Offset policy can develop local capabilities, build a local manufacturing industry, and can make a valuable contribution to the industrial growth in India. That is what authors wants to say here. The next article, the many bright spots on India's innovation horizon. I will use this article to understand the steps taken by the government to create innovation ecosystem. Remember the first statement. With regard to innovation and technology, people tend to overestimate the technology in the short run but underestimates the technology in the long run. It means that people want to have quick results and forgets them very quickly. If they are put to right use in the long run, we can see many economic dividends. When a particular technology which is been invented for a particular purpose can have many wider applications. When its wider applications are realized, we will understand the impact of the technology. Let's take the CRISPR-Cas9 technology. It was actually brought in for yogurt industry, but today its applications are there across the biology. That's how its utility got unfolded. So any innovation will have its economic impact in the long run rather than in the short run. Second thing, coming to Indian society, we value success beyond anything else. So that's why youngsters have this pressure. We cannot afford to fail. So we have to create a confidence, a psychological confidence in them that yes, you can afford to fail. So you have the safety net in spite of failure has to be created for these people. So again, providing them the necessary risk capital is another thing. In this context, government has taken a slew of steps. Let us try to understand them. The first is dialogue. It means to create a grand vision. All the intellectuals are being brought in, seminars are being conducted for them. Second, today, startup ecosystem is trying to create impact through various applications in India. For example, Map My India, Logically, Setu, Gramophone, all these are trying to solve real problems of India, especially rural India. So that way, more and more technology solutions are becoming India centric. Previously, technology solutions are not India centric, they are Western centric. So we developed technology for US rather than for utility in India, but in this generation technology is being developed for utility of India. And next, many scholarships are being issued. Inspire, Kiran, Smart India Hackathons, Prime, STARS, Atal Innovation Mission, Biotechnology Ignition Grant, and then National Mission for Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems. All these are mentioned in this particular article. Next is regulatory agencies are also experimenting with regulatory sandboxes. You need to understand the word regulatory sandbox over here. So a regulatory sandbox is a framework set up by the regulator that allows the fintech startups and other innovators to conduct live experiments in a controlled environment. Let us take SEBI wants to develop some technology. or regulator want to monitor some technology, under their control a startup will work and they monitor it closely. That is what is called regulatory sandbox. So these are the important points which you need to learn. The next article is flawed foreigners tribunals. This is in the context of the Assam. They are meant to identify the foreigners. You know, NRC is prepared in Assam. Many names are missing. Now these people have to prove themselves as the Indian citizens. Normally, in any case of accused, he need not prove his innocence. The burden of proof that he is accused and committed some crime lies on the government. But in the case of foreigners tribunals, it lies on the accused. And second thing is, police are not allowed to cross-examine by these foreign tribunals. That's why police are very lax and they are taking the system for granted. It means accountability is missing on part of the police. And last minute disposal of cases, it is making these people not to get the justice. So in a hurry to dispose the cases, these tribunals just declaring them that they haven't submitted right proofs. And police give without doing their homework that these people are not living over there, or they haven't submitted their records, etc. So this is finally leading to a grave injustice to those people. That is the essence of this article. Next is towards fewer deaths in Tamil Nadu. This is not a great article, but anyhow we will do this. What the steps government can take to control the deaths from COVID-19. He says let us keep a centralized fever cell. Any person who has the fever will call to that cell, and based on that we will order for the tests immediately, and bed arrangement in the hospital or home quarantine and monitoring it, and regularly publishing whatever the latest updates which have come on COVID-19 to improve the treatment protocols. These are the various things suggested in this article. The next article is virus still around, PM cautions nation. What Prime Minister Modi is saying is festivals are about to come. We need to be cautious about virus. We need to follow the necessary personal hygiene and COVID-19 protocols in our interaction in public life. So we still are far away from herd immunity. Vaccine is not yet out. In this case, this caution is very much essential. Punjab formally rejects farm bills. You know, Parliament passed 3 farm bills. Now Punjab wanted to counter that by passing the bills in the state legislature. In federalism, you can see it as a dispute between the center and the states. The highlights of these bills are: one is to protect MSP regime and its continuance so that farmers, whatever they produce, will be procured by the government. What it says is, if anyone buys or sells that is below MSP, wheat or paddy, then the imprisonment is for 3 years, and second, there will be a hefty penalty. After that, agricultural land cannot be attached by any decree by the court. Let's take small and marginal farmers. If they don't pay back their money which they borrowed pledging their land, then that property can be attached. Now government has passed a law stating that up to 2.5 acres a farmer holds, that land can never be attached by a decree of the court. So these are the laws which are being passed. Another thing is electricity amendment bill of the parliament, which is there before parliament, also curtails the powers of the states. In this context, even that is being rejected by the Punjab. So this is kind of a friction developing between the center and the states. This example is very much important for your federalism in polity. Next is FDI blooms in COVID-19 gloom. What is the major reason? I was watching Mr. P. Sainath's article or video one day. In that he makes an interesting observation. Whenever there is human suffering, then investment flows and the stock markets working is going to boom, is going to increase. So even today, when there is COVID-19, FDI flows have increased. Here the reason is different. Reliance wants to become debt free. That's why Reliance Retail is being offered to the investors, and many of the famous investors have invested in that particular company. Finally, government increases poll spend ceiling by 10%. So for MLA, it is 30.8 lakhs for assembly and for MP, that is for Parliament, it is 77 lakh rupees. So 10% is increased. It is only for larger states due to COVID-19 situation. Who improves that? It is Law Ministry, and who recommended for it? Election Commission of India. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day.